right, just getting started doing some test fitting, seeing where I gotta cut some fiberglass away to get this to push in nice and snug. You can see here, this fender is just loose, so it's just flopping around, but it will pull out and kind of up in the bottom a little bit. As you can see on one side, I can get it to push in a little closer than the other. Now, if I put pressure on the right side, I'm sure it will just flop and be the same thing, just opposite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be trimming this out on both sides. That'll be the first step. All right, so this is where I'm at so far. The trimming continues. This one I don't have set up. You can see it's falling behind the bumper. It's really hard to do this by yourself. But I got the other side done. And over here, you'll see it fits and lines up pretty good. Now, of course, when the bolts are drilled and everything, it'll tie in on the bottom. But the problem I'm having is that when I try to set both sides in and press it up against as far as I can to eliminate a gap on one side and be nice and tight and fit on the other side, to have that nice fit on both, it's just not happening. And so I've been fighting with it, and the best I could determine is that it's pivoting in the middle. And I just can't get it close enough on the core support that both sides would be snug up against the fenders. All right, so as you can see, I really kind of honed all that extra meat out in that angle, and see how much that helps. Did the same thing over here. And we'll go ahead and give it a test fit and see if it made a difference or not. All right, so as you can see, I got that meat honed out of there on each side. And here's how we're looking, again, without any pressure. It's not like I can, press up against it and really get it shoved in there. But it will give you an idea how much that helped. So we're getting there. We're on the road. I'm almost wondering, I don't know if you can see, if I can get it in like this. If you can see, I got a lot of the meat taken off here, but then it gets thicker over here, just to kind of fan that out and see if it'll kind of go in a little bit farther. On this side, it doesn't seem to be that much of an issue. So a little more grinding. Just take a little bit of that fiberglass out, and we're getting there. Now, how this bumper is gonna ultimately seat up against that fender, who knows? Right now, my concern is just getting it, oh, well, there you go, just fell off because this is all loose, but my concern is just to get this nice and close to the line here, this form line, as you saw a moment ago. And then when I tie it in, we'll just by, tightening it up, we'll let suck this bumper into it. I don't know. We'll see how much flexibility we have when it comes down to that. All right, did some more fine tuning. Just give you a better look of what I've done in this section here. I've honed it out some more. More on this side. Took off some meat on that upper lip. And I also cut back this edge here. With the elimination of the meat in here, it pushed back farther, but then this was hitting the back of the core support. I already cut this off, but I had to cut it some more, and I did the same thing on that side as well. And in case you're wondering, I'm just using a good old-fashioned grinder. Works great, just goes through it like butter, nice and quick. All right, as you can see, got it pretty close here, pretty close with the fold. Obviously down below, it's not tied in, but I'm hoping that when I get to that, it kind of rocks a little bit. And then I took out the meat in there along here. That helped. I'm gonna have to cut this back a little bit more as well because it's hitting against that. This side's still okay. And you can see it's pretty snug up to this side as well. Now it's not lining up, but that's all comes with a fine alignment and getting it all bolted in and all that good stuff. All right, just a little sneak peek. It's gonna look awesome when it's all done. Actually turning into quite a bit of work. The videos online, they don't do it justice in terms of the time that you have to invest in this, in just fit, refit, grind, regrind. Kind of a pain in the ass. It'll be worth it though, when it's all done. So at this point, I was kind of at a standstill. I just could do only so much without a second pair of hands. So I elicited the help of my brother, and I drove the Mustang over to his shop and got it up on the rack. So much easier, so much nicer to work on a car when it's off the ground, as I'm sure you know. That being said, we started doing the fine adjustments, and you see we got the markers placed in there to kind of rock the front apron forward, just to kind of get everything started in its placement. Ultimately, no matter what we did, how we moved it, how we rocked it, how we shifted it, the lower part of the front fenders where they curve down and under just weren't matching up with the bumper. Obviously, the bumper is an aftermarket mold, and every one of these Mustangs is going to be slightly different. So we had to do a lot of work to get it to fit. So that's where my brother came in, and he made tons of adjustments, which I'll show you here in a second, to get that sucker to fit in there snug as a bug. Maybe your car fit perfectly, I don't know, but this car needed a lot of tweaking to get that bumper to seat up in there and match the the outside of those fenders to be flush with the curvature of the bumper. So this picture is a little bit of a fast forward. It's not the end product, but it's close to the end. Just to give you an idea of some of the issues we were running into, was where the curvature of that fender just didn't match the bumper. And so you can't just bend it. So there's a lot of other things that need to be done. And that is what I'm going to show you next, how my brother was able to achieve getting that flush all the way around on both sides. So we needed to get more flexibility, movement out of the metal. And so what he did is he relieved and cut out this spot weld. You can see where that has a conjoining kind of bind spot. So he relieved that, and that allowed that bottom hanging piece that curves down to give you just a little bit more movement. You'll see that right here. I'll just kind of throw up another picture of where it is from the outside. Next, he had to relieve the sheet metal, so when you're trying to bend and form it, it doesn't kink and tweak out the original integrity or shape of the sheet metal. So he made relief cuts there, as you can see, and then went into slowly reforming that bottom piece of fender to mold really perfectly with the bumper. Next, after putting the bumper on and off multiple times to get that bottom curvature form to the bumper just perfectly so, then as you can see, a piece of backing sheet metal in place, and that is going to do two things. One, hold the shape of the bumper as it's been reformed, and two, give us our surface to actually bolt the bumper to. Once we got it where we liked it, he used some rivets to hold it into place. And by the way, those rivets were drilled out several times, reformed, refitted, re-riveted to get it just perfect. But now that we have it in place, he's going to go ahead and tack weld that sucker from the back, and then we'll move forward to getting the holes drilled and everything bolted in. As you can see here, got it welded in place. And by the way, that top bolt that you see up there is an alignment pin. That's something that you can use to, whenever you take the bumper on and off, it should fall right back into place, just as where it was to begin with. And here you see it's almost in its final state. Got the holes drilled, bolts in place, and we're just about set.